let's talk about what my 7th grader read for his school year. Welcome to this House of Walls. My name is Ashley, and on this channel, I love to share all things homeschooling and books, and today is a combination. So I am marathoning some filming today because it is our really kind of first official day of summer, and I have some things to talk about before I really wrap up all of our schoolwork and books and everything like that and start bringing in the new stuff. So today, let's talk about what my 7th grader read, and it was a mix. You'll see that here. So we started the school year with not using like a reading curriculum, literature guides, anything like that. We did make the switch. If you have seen any of my videos before, we made the switch to Build Your Library. So you will see where that switch happens. But we do have some books that aren't part of Build Your Library. And so we're going to talk about all of them. So let's first talk about reading that he did on his own. This little stack here are books that are not a part of Build Your Library. He either read them before we started Build Your Library or at the end of our school year where we weren't going to be finishing Build Your Library anyways, and we had these books already, and so I decided I wasn't going to buy any more books, but actually read the ones that we had. So the first one to talk about is My Side of the Mountain. He had read The Hatchet the previous year, and so decided to pick this one up about another boy trying to survive in the wilderness. And I think he really enjoyed it. I think that he liked The Hatchet more, though. Then we have The Tiger Rising by Kate D. Camillo. This is one of our favorite authors, and he really enjoyed it. Then he read A Long Walk to Water. So he did read this in the fall before we knew we were switching to Build Your Library, and this is part of Level 7, which he will be doing this coming school year. So I have swapped it out for something else, and he really liked it. I think that there's a movie or documentary about it, and so I would like him this summer to sit down and watch it. Then he read The Spiderwick Chronicles Book 1 and 2, and he really enjoyed it. We've watched the movie for it, and we love the movie, so I think he liked kind of getting into the books and reading them. He actually finished out the school year with this one, so this is A Series of Unfortunate Events. This is the 3rd book, The Wide Window. And we've watched the series, we've watched the movie. He absolutely loved it. This may have been one of his favorite books this year. And then throughout the school year, he read Book 1, Book 2, and Book 3 of the Virginia Mystery Series. So we live in Virginia, and so this was a great way to kind of incorporate that. I think he really likes the first one. He was okay about the second one. He did not like the third one. So he won't be continuing on with the series, but I am going to hold on to them because maybe my youngest will like them. So those are all the books that he read as readers that weren't part of Build Your Library. So now we have the books that were part of Build Your Library that we owned and that he was able to read during the school year. Now, I'm not going to get into great detail of any of them because I have done a whole review of all of the books and resources that we used for level 6, so I'm just going to kind of show them quickly. So we have Hazardous Tales, The Underground Abductor, March Toward Thunder, Prairie Thief, Dragon's Gate, Chickadee, Stargazing, Letters from Rivka, and Immigrant Kids. So overall, I think that he enjoyed the books. I know Hazardous Tales was a definite hit. We have since bought maybe 3 or 4 others, and he is asking for more of them. And I think that he also enjoyed Letters from Rivka. So now let's talk about read-alouds. When we started the school year, we were doing read-alouds as a family, but that changed and evolved, and now my sons and I both read books separately. So I have a couple books here that aren't part of Build Your Library. The first is The Penderwicks, A Summer Tale of 4 Sisters, 2 Rabbits, and a Very Interesting Boy. So like I said for my 3rd grade books video, they weren't sure about this because it's following 4 sisters. So they were a little uneasy about that, but it quickly became a favorite. We loved it, and it was fantastic. The next, I'll put a picture up here, was Island of the Blue Dolphins. We were studying U.S. history, so incorporated that. I think he liked it. It wasn't one of their favorites, but I'm glad that we read it. And then kind of around the time that we made the switch, we were reading Bridge to Terabithia. We didn't finish because I pulled my 7th grader off and he was doing other books. And then I think that this was just a little too old for my 3rd grader at the time. I would like to have my 7th grader read this because I think that he was really enjoying it. It just became a little too overstimulating. And then we got into Build Your Library, and this was one of the best ways for us to just sit down together and read a book. Some of it we did it on audio, sometimes I would read it aloud. We are going to continue one that we didn't get to during the school year, and we're going to read it this summer. But let's talk about what we did read. So we have The Giver by Lois Lowry. It was fantastic. I actually have the other 4 in the series, and hopefully he'll read them. Then we read The Not So Boring Letters of Private Nobody. Honestly, this might be my favorite book that we read this year. I thought it was really well written, really funny and meaningful, good lessons, all of that. Then we read Sugar, In the Footsteps of Crazy Horse. I had to let the cat in. She jumps up on the table now, that's why. Then we read Prairie Lotus. This was really interesting because he has read some of the Little House books, and this was an interesting take on a different perspective of living on the prairie if you weren't a white girl. Chasing Secrets, When You Reach Me, and then the last book that we finished was Hattie Big Sky. This is a close second for me. So I just paused because I wanted to know what books were my son's favorite. So he said either it was The Not So Boring Letters of Private Nobody or When You Reach Me, which was really good. So those are the books that we read. And then he read all the books for history also for Build Your Library. All of them were fantastic. There might be like 1 or 2 that we might switch out when my youngest gets to this level, but for the most part, I'm really proud of this. This is a stack of books in front of me that we read in a year, and that is amazing. I'm really excited to see what he continues to read. He has a harder time just picking up books on his own, so I think I'm going to this summer definitely make time to be like, get your book and sit down and read, because that's just how it works. As always, if you like this or anything else that I post here on this channel, make sure to like and subscribe down below, and I will be back for more soon.